Guys, did you know the last time a Brown not named Myles Garrett recorded 10 sacks was 2014? The same year, a player on the Browns recorded 5 or more interceptions. And we know the Browns have made quite the upgrade in both the secondary and on the defensive line this year. So my question for you guys today is, what is more likely to happen this season? A Brown not named Myles Garrett records double-digit sacks, or someone on the Browns picks off at least 5 passes?
Oh, stop. They're not good.
They still have Denzel Ward on this team, right?
Well, I would say that because Denzel Ward, because I know that they've upgraded the line, but they didn't have 10 sacks combined outside of Myles Garrett last year.
Yeah, I don't think Obo or Tomlinson's going to suddenly.
I don't think either one of those guys is a double-digit sack guy. Let's turn to the expert. Are they? I mean, I don't.
Obo might be the closest to get there, but 10 sacks is tough.
That's a
10
lot
sacks
of
is 10
sacks,
sacks.
man.
Like, no matter how you look at it, everybody going into the year started like, if I can just get double-digit sacks. So that's already everybody's benchmark.
Yeah.
And 10 sacks is tough. And looking at this, Myles Garrett is amazing. So he already puts pressure on those guys. But he gets all the eyes. So if those guys are going to have more chances to get one-on-ones, I will say Obo has the best chance to do it, but I'm not sure because 10 is tough. He's never had 10 before.
Right.
I don't think nobody else on his D-line has had 10
I don't think
before,
they have either. No, I think you're right. And 5 picks, I mean, I know that guys used to lead the league and they'd have close to double-digit picks, but that's not the case anymore.
Ain't nobody doing
If you
that
have 5 picks now, you're among league leaders.
Yeah.
You're like in the top 3 or 4.
6 led the league last year.
6 led the league.
Yeah. Because guys aren't, going for interceptions is risky. Like,
quarterbacks just take better care of it.
You have to be close to the ball. You got to be in phase. You got to look back for the ball. You got to play the ball. And technically, people who usually do that, they either give up a lot of big plays or they get pass interference called on them. So now people is just like, look, we just want you to keep guys in front of you.
Yep.
We might keep you in off coverage. You don't even see bump and run coverage no more because of that thing, right? So it's hard to get picks. It's almost easier for a safety to get picks now than a corner because the safety sees the quarterback. Tip balls can happen, and he may get some picks, but it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go with interceptions.
Yeah, I didn't even answer him.
I'm gonna go with picks
so
because these 10 sacks is stupid hard.
20 guys last year had at least 10 sacks, and 4 of them were on the Eagles.
Well, I mean, Schwartz is now the D coordinator for the Browns.
Yeah, well,
So are you going
personnel's a little
sacks?
different.
Yeah, he doesn't
no,
have
I'm
that.
going picks.
Yeah, that D-line.
I'm going neither. But
Yeah,
if you're going to
I'm with you.
You're going to make me pick. I'll go.
I think neither will happen.
With Denzel Ward on the roster, I'll take interceptions.
That's the exact same reason why I would go with Ward. Man, 10 is a lot.
Interceptions for me as well.
Yeah.
And pass rush we always say pass rush and coverage works together in a sense. So if you get more pressure on the quarterback, it makes the quarterback have to speed up.
Right.
He may throw bad passes, giving the DBs more chances to get interceptions. And if the DBs are back there covering their tails off, that makes the quarterback have to hold and pat the ball a couple extra seconds.
And
that
leads to sacks.
That allows the defensive line.
They really do work hand in hand.
Allowing the defensive line to get there. So we'll be able to see very early where this defense is going to stand and rank amongst the rest in the NFL.
As a D lineman, let them know how frustrating it is to work. You hit one of your best moves. You've been setting it up for 2-3 series, and then all of a sudden you get you about 5 milliseconds from getting home, and the quarterback gets rid of the ball. And you've been working your move. It's just like it's so difficult to get there. And that has to be one of the most frustrating things in the world as a D lineman.
Absolutely. It is so tough to get sacks. You throwing all these moves, you working on them in the offseason. We like to call ourselves dancing bears. We doing a little dance, and we finally beat the offensive lineman, and the ball is gone. And you just like, damn.
I wasted that move.
Damn. You out of breath. You trying to figure out what's going on because you can't throw the same move again because those guys are pros too. But then you go back and watch it on the film, and you realize that, dang, he was
Faulty earpiece.
Trust me.
Yeah.
For the first 2 months, I was doing this the whole time. Mic check.
Hold on, guys. He hasn't brought out the contraband yet. We're still working on it. Yeah, like we were saying. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's gotten to the point in the NFL that if you breathe on the quarterback wrong, it's a flag. And some of the flags that we've seen thrown,
egregious.
You really ask yourself, what was the defensive lineman supposed to do? Turn matrix and hover over the quarterback after he's left his feet? Do you find that there's a difference in the way the leagues call the hits on quarterbacks? Like, is the USFL a little more forgiving? Are they calling it as tight as the NFL? Have you noticed a difference?
I'll start off by saying it's an offensive game now in both leagues. You know, people want to see points. That brings in ratings. That brings excitement. So they want to protect their biggest investment, which is quarterbacks.
Right.
I don't know what they expect the defensive lineman to do, you know, mid-tackle to stop his body weight, turn to the side.
Yeah.
What about protecting the defensive lineman? Why is it that he won't get hurt trying to protect the quarterback when we're playing?
Trying to pull up.
Yeah, when we're playing football. And I've seen guys try to pull up and not hit a quarterback. He breaks the tackle, then throws a long pass and things like that. So it's tough as a defensive lineman, but that's the game we play now, so we have to adjust. In the USFL, it's a little lax, because the quarterbacks aren't getting paid what those guys are getting paid. So
they're not treated as such a commodity.
You get one step in the NFL, we probably get like two in the USFL, but the quarterbacks get hit, they still turning around, looking to the ref and things like asking for calls. But you can see a little bit of the difference, and I really feel like it's because of the contracts and the money. The quarterbacks in the NFL are the most important position in any sport, but they drive the NFL, so they want to protect their investment, which makes sense.
Sure.
But show some love to the big guys. We're 300-plus
kidding.
pounds. How do you expect us to stop our fall and things like that? You barely touch them. You have bad breath, it's a flag. So we got to fix it.
It really is.
I don't
it's
get it.
Crazy, and I don't know that the game is better for it. You're right. Everybody wants to see offense, and nobody wants to see these franchise quarterbacks go out. They're the ones that drive, for the most part, the ratings and the interest in the game. But holy cow! I mean, some of these flags you look at and say, "What are they supposed to do?"
Because you don't want to see games decided by the ref throwing a roughing the passer or drives extended because of bogus flags. So then you have another problem. Then the fans are mad at the officials and fans are mad at the league. So I don't know how they're going to fix it. I guess they're just going to stay with how it is, you know, protecting the quarterbacks and just tell the defense that they have to figure it out.
One of the things we wanted to ask you about was getting pressure on quarterbacks. There's various ways to do it. Last year, the Browns seemed to lock it down in a 4-3, and that was it. We rarely saw exotic blitzes. You didn't see corners coming. You never saw safeties come. It was just a very vanilla bland. This is what we're going to do. We believe that our 4 can get past your 5 to get home. It didn't work. Clearly it didn't work. Jim Schwartz is a guy that will mix it up. We'll see. He'll go wide 9.
Yeah.
And that stretches things out. If you would, take us through the philosophy of some of these different looks and what you think of the wide 9 and how maybe getting pressure is either harder, easier, what it does for the defensive front.
In a sense of a wide 9, you have to have a dog out there on the edge, which they do in Myles Garrett. In a sense, that's just giving him more space to win his one-on-ones and creating more space for the interior guys to get on edges and things like that. You spoke about them not bringing pressure and things like that last year. That's the biggest testament you can have and the biggest faith and confidence you can show in your D-line is saying, look, we're going to drop 7 back in coverage, and we trust and believe that you 4 will get pressure. But when that doesn't happen and the quarterback's just sitting there
you got to adjust.
Holding the ball, he's able to just pick the defense apart, and that's what you've seen with the Browns last year, and there weren't no adjustments and things like that. But the wide 9, I believe that's just for those edge guys to have more space and to be able to take inside moves and work outside as well. And when you have a guy like Myles Garrett, that's the best.
Are you a fan of it? Do you like playing in a wide 9?
Well, I'm 300 pounds. I don't go all the way out there.
Right.
I'm from 3, 2, and 1.
Does it make things easier on the inside if everybody is more spaced out?
Yeah and no, because on the inside, you can't get out of your rush lanes and things like that. You might think you have more space than you actually do. You have a wide 9 rushing, then your 3 technique is rushing wide. Now the gap's here. If you're playing a guy like Lamar Jackson that'll take off, you're done.
Yeah,
so
that'll hurt
the
you.
wide 9 has pros and cons. You know, you have to have a good linebacker behind him as well, because now he have a couple of gaps to cover as opposed to just one when you're in a 4-3 scheme.
Yeah. And I don't know the Browns have that linebacker on their roster right now.
They don't have him. He is not here on this roster.
Do you know anything? You never played for Jim Schwartz, but being in the league, have you heard anything about his reputation? Maybe you have friends or guys that you know or played with that have played in that system. What do you
where
hear
was he?
about?
He was
in Philly.
He was in Philly.
And they were racking up sacks like they were, nothing.
I really haven't heard anything about him, but I don't want to take anything away, not saying he's a good coach and everything, but that personnel and that D-line was – you could have put me to go coach them, and I would have had a DC job after coaching them last year. So I really haven't heard much about him, but it worked in Philly. I know the Cleveland fan base is hoping that he can come out here and duplicate that success. I know you
Nice.
have a franchise piece in Myles Garrett, and then you have Larry. So hopefully you can find. I believe is Larry still on the team?
No, I wish.
So he's gone because I used to like him. He was a good counter piece with Myles Garrett that played in the inside.
Right.
So you guys got to find that opposite guy of Myles Garrett that can duplicate the pressure, and I think things will be okay.
Yeah.
Boogie, I know you played with LA for a year.
Yeah.
You got to kind of learn up close and personal from Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
What did you kind of take away from him that you didn't learn from playing with other DTs on the highest level like that? What makes him so special compared to the rest of the guys at that position in the league?
Man, he's a freak of nature, man. Just the things I've seen that guy do is just crazy. And I'm sure you guys have seen his workout videos. He's moving faster than DBs. He's doing ladder drills and bag drills. So I remember our coach would say, there's Aaron Donald and there's everybody else. So don't try to copy him. So that's what I took from it. I would just try to pick his brains as much as possible. And he's an amazing guy. You know, he didn't have to. I was kind of like his rookie. He would come out early with me and work on things and show me certain things. And he didn't have to do that. He's all pro. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best defensive player to ever play the game. And he didn't have to do that, you know. And I always tell the story, like, he's just an amazing human being and just a freak of nature. We'll probably never see anything like him, and it's just been an honor to play with him. You know, we're still very close to this day.
Yeah.
We play Call of Duty almost every day.
Nice,
So,
very nice.
I send him clips. He gives me feedback on things I can work on and things that I need to get better on.
It's a pretty good mentor to have,
yeah,
really.
the best mentor to have.
How much longer do you think he'll play?
I would say this year for sure, and then depending on how this year goes, if they're right there, if they can almost get there or get to the Super Bowl, then one more year. But if it's a bad year like last year, he has nothing else to prove. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So I'll say two max, one at the least, depending on how this season goes, because they're blowing up that roster down there.
You know, that's an interesting statement that you made, because I think he's in that conversation now, Jay. At perhaps the greatest defensive player ever. I mean, when you start running down the list of guys like LT and Ray Lewis and guys that were impacted. Think about all the kids that grew up in their backyards pretending to throw that last-second quarterback touchdown to win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very rare that you see one guy win a Super Bowl with multiple defensive plays on that last stand. And even on that last play, you just knew Donald's going to do something because that's what he does. That's what he's been doing this whole drive. That's so rare. Where does he fit in the pantheon of all-time great defensive players?
For me, it always starts with Lawrence Taylor. To me, he is the greatest defensive player ever. Quarterbacks were literally terrified of him.
And he changed the game because no one did what he did.
And he is the one who got left tackles paid, frankly.
Right.
He is the reason why the left tackle position became so important to the NFL. So that it begins and ends there. But he also played a completely different position than where Aaron Donald plays. And for Aaron to have the impact that he has from the inside, from an inside push.
It's amazing.
That inside, I would probably agree.
You know what's so crazy? I'll go back and forth about this all the time. Like, some days it's like you say who the best defensive lineman ever. I say Lawrence Taylor some days, but then some days I go watch Reggie White and be like, I don't even know what Reggie White played. He played in at 315. That's a clean cheat. And then I look at Aaron Donald, and there has never been a better athlete to ever play three technique than Aaron Donald. Like, so he has the speed, quickness, and agility of an elite lineman, but his stature inside, I mean, he was playing that at 285, 290, and you couldn't do nothing. And he was one of the dudes that was coming up, like, you know, Deacon Jones had the head slap, right? You know what I'm saying? Myles Garrett can bend really great. He has the bend. Dwight Freeney, he has the burst to get off. But Aaron Donald, he was in there creating no whole moves. He was just, how you create moves? What new moves? He would be like, this is my new move. I'm going to move his elbow up like this. And I'm like, this dude is ridiculous. He's doing way too much.
He has influenced, like, the next generation. You know, back in the day, you wanted your D tackles, you know, 6'3 plus, 320. They wanted to pass the eye test. He has opened up a lot of doors for certain stature type of D linemen that say I can play and I can be explosive, I can be dominant and very productive. So he's like he's opened up doors for a certain stature of guys, and it's just been amazing. And I'm biased. I know how tough it is inside in the sense of, those edge guys are great. LT and Reggie White, they're amazing. Nothing to take away from those guys. But you guys seen more of them play than I did. You were around when TV was in black and white. I wasn't. So with my eyes, all I've seen play is Aaron Donald. To do that from the inside when it's easier for teams to double team you and scheme you up and to still be that productive and defeat double teams, sometimes triple teams, and to still make plays, I have to go with him as the greatest defensive player that I've ever seen. And to me, he's number one on my list. And it may be a little biased because of the personal relationship, but
to be clear, we never saw leather helmets.
He has
We're not that old.
Yeah. But, I did forget one, clearly greatest defensive player ever, Tyvis Powell.
That's right. No conversation can happen with
Tyvis is number one.
Tyvis Powell, the Thundercat linebacker himself.
Everybody else is fighting for number 2.
Is that McNugget's other nickname?
No.
I thought Tyrus Powell was his other nickname. I was going to say McNuggets.
Oh, you'll meet Tyvis. You'll meet Tyvis.
Yeah, you'll meet Tyvis.